Sí, aquí lo tengo. Aquí. Sí, señor, aquí lo tengo en la mano. ¿Tú me dices? ¿Me dices si lo hago? Es la música de afuera, creo, ¿no? Que se mete por la puerta.
Buenos días, Buenos días, candidatos. Bienvenidos a este foro de parte de USWW. Queremos un nuevo camino para nuestro futuro. No es suficiente que nos diga de lo que está en contra. Hoy queremos saber por cuáles valores luchará.
Anybody can say what they're against. Today, we want to know what our next governor is going to fight for.
Today is about our unity. Today is a day we will not be silent. Our power will defeat the authoritarian in the White House. Este momento, más que cualquier otro momento, tenemos que estar unidos. Tenemos que asegurar la seguridad de todos en nuestro pueblo.
With these hands, I'll fight. Con estas manos, luchamos.
You have had USWW members from San Diego to Sacramento hitting the doors. And why in California? The reality is that we've invested decades in transforming California to what it is today, which I would say a pro-worker state. But it isn't something that we take for granted. We know that what has happened over time is that corporations and big money has caught up to them. And they believe they can buy the state. And our members are out there every day defending what we've built.
Para mí es muy importante tener el voto para tener una mejor representación para nuestras comunidades. Estas elecciones se tratan de nosotros, de nuestras familias, de nuestra comunidad. Lo que hago para venir a recoger el voto es caminar, tocar puertas y informarle a la gente que es muy importante votar para tener quien nos represente.
It's important for us to get out and vote and change the world for a better place.
We have to fight for the immigrants in this country that make it what it is. SEIU has always been building this solidarity.
Estas manos es nuestra fuerza. Nosotros tenemos el poder, no solo económico, pero político también.
Con estas manos transformamos California.
With our vote, we transform California.
¡Se puede! ¡Se puede! Cuando luchamos, when we fight, sí se puede. Se puede. Se puede. Se puede. All right. ¿Cómo estamos? All right. So, vamos a empezar, pero quiero empezar primeramente a recibir a todos. A darles todos una gran bienvenida al día de hoy, especialmente nuestros miembros de SEIU-USWW. Un aplauso fuerte. Tenemos miembros que vienen de Sacramento, de Oakland, de San José, de San Diego, de Orange County, de Los Ángeles, por todo California que están aquí hoy día. Y quiero decirles gracias por venir, porque son momentos como estos que son tan importantes, porque de aquí vamos a escoger el próximo gobernador de California. ¿Se puede? So I just want to be able to welcome everybody into the room. Thank you all for coming today. And just really want to say thank you for being here. And I want to really give a shout out to some key folks who are here with us today. As I just mentioned, our SEIU-USWW members are in the house. A big applause for all of them. Came from as far as Sacramento, as far as south as San Diego. But I also want to give a shout out to all our community partners who are here with us today. I want to give a shout out to CIPC, Chila, Carecen, BSP, the Clean Car Wash, the Carwacheros, COCO, CFA, SEIU, the LA County Federation of Labor, the MCTF, Endelon, the Latino Caucus from SEIU and SEIU-USWW. Thank you all for coming today. So, I want to welcome all the candidates into the space. So we're going to bring them up, all of them, one by one, and want to thank them so much for being here. I want to bring up first candidate Tony Thurman. Now I'd like to bring up second candidate Eric Salwal. Ian Candelor. Candidate Tom Steyer. Candidate Javier Becerra. Oops, whoa, that one was. Candidate Antonio Villaraigosa. Candidate Katie Porter. And candidate Betty Yee. All right, all right. So I want to thank everybody for coming today, especially those who traveled from far, for coming today. I think today is a very important day for all of us. Hold on, sorry, get my cue cards here going. We thought it was important for us to put this event together. We thought it was important for our members, for the community, to hear from the candidates, especially in this moment in time. This moment in time, and I think, the last 9 months, I think it's been 9 months or however long it's been. It seems like a century. But what we have experienced in the last 9 months can be summarized in the last several days. The crisis that we have seen internationally, domestically, in the streets of this country. And I think right now the urgency for us to be able to sit in this moment right now is so critical. Because in all truth, somebody from this platform on this stage will be the next governor of California. And we think as we move into that and have this opportunity to call together this forum, it's really to remind ourselves that, the service, public service as a representative of the people is critical to represent the interest of all of our people. And USWW, in my opinion, has been at the forefront of really being the voice for working people, the voice for all people. We pride ourselves in being able to build power across difference. And when I say difference, across gender, across color, across language, across status, and make sure all of our members' voices are heard, and the voices of their communities are being heard. And that's why it was important for us when we hosted this, is to not only make it something about USWW, but to invite our community into this space. And I just want to remind ourselves that, we are living through turbulent times. And in those turbulent times, we have to continue to see a vision for the future and fight for something that's better than we have, because what we just lost was, in honesty, not the greatest thing in the world either. But what we have lost and what we have to recover and what we have to build going forward is going to be, in my opinion, is going to have to come from California. And I want to say, in the fourth largest economy in the world, the folks who are most forgotten is always the working people. And the fourth largest economy in the world cannot be sustained without working people. And those are the folks that you see right here in front of you. Janitors, security officers, airport workers, stadium and event workers. And a lot of folks, these workers should not be defined by the wages they make. They should be defined by the value of the labor that they contribute. And so our challenge and our job as an organization is to really lift the standard for working people and really create a situation where there are no more low-wage workers, hold accountable the industries that they work for. So in all honesty, that is what we're here today. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your voices, know from you what you're prepared to do as both as a candidate and a future governor. And I'm trying to get caught up to my cue cards here, because I know in here there's a little explanation of what we're doing today. And so with that, I'd like to get this thing started, right? And with that, I'm going to kind of lay out some rules to make sure that we're all on the same page. And so I want to explain the format of today's event. Candidates will have 90 seconds for their opening statements. Questions will be asked by SEIU-USWW members only. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond. I will begin with the first candidate to my left, and then we'll, with each next question will start with the second candidate, the third candidate, and the fourth candidate, so that everybody has a chance to be able to go at the beginning. Please, no debate or crosstalk. We ask that candidates remain seated during their forum, and I'll be referring to candidates by their first name. You guys are okay with that? And candidates will receive one warning if you go beyond 90 seconds. For those of you who are sure to stay with me, I'm a good timekeeper. You'll receive one warning if you go over. The next time, you'll receive another warning, and that goes for everybody. At the third time, we'll just cut off the mic. Okay, so please stay within the 90 seconds. And each candidate will have 90 seconds for their closing remarks. As I said again, please no crosstalk, and we ask that candidates remain seated during the forum. So with that, we're going to turn it over now and start the question and answer part of this forum. And I'd like to bring up first, oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry about that. You're right, opening statements. So we're going to start with opening statements, and we're going to start first with you, Betty.
Great. Thank you very much, David. Hello, everyone. Buenos dias. I just wanted to say how just grateful I am for all of you to spend a day to listen to all of us. You know, we are at this time, as David said, of great urgency in terms of what we're going to do to not only save our democracy, but at the heart of our democracy is really what we do relative to the labor union movement. All of you have something in common, and that is you are such contributors to this economy. And yet what we're seeing is really going back to some of the early history of what's happened with unions in the labor movement, and that is one of exploitation, and one where those who are the most well-heeled and the richest among us are taking advantage of, frankly, everyone else. This was exacerbated by the pandemic and certainly exacerbated by what we're seeing relative to the economy really being owned by corporations and millionaires right now. So I'm running for governor to make California add up again. We're going to hold corporations and billionaires accountable, and we're going to be sure that we are returning power to the workers who know how to grow this economy. And actually, when we talk about it being the fourth largest economy in the world, we mean it, because for all of you, one job should be enough to raise your family. Thank you.
Katie?
Good morning. My name is Katie Porter, and I am a single mother of 3 teenagers. So running for governor is what I do to relax. When I look out at this room this morning, what I see are the people who give California its heart, who are really the lifeblood of our economy. I see a security guard who makes it possible for us to shop safely and go to work. I see a stadium worker who makes sure that concert goers and fans can have a great time. I see a night shift worker who works overnight, keeping offices clean so that people can come into work the next day and do their jobs. SEIU is the backbone of our economy. It is the backbone of California. And you have been righteous in your fight for justice. You have been unafraid to take on the powerful. And you deserve a governor who will do exactly that. I'm running for governor because my career has been about holding powerful interests who cheat everyday people accountable. I've taken on the big banks during the foreclosure crisis. I've taken on big pharmaceutical companies when they tried to price gouge. I fought the Trump administration and won to make COVID testing free for every single American, regardless of insurance, regardless of immigration status. SEIU is about shaking up the status quo. It is about dreaming and delivering a better future. And you deserve a governor who's going to have the same heart and the same fight to be right by your side in those battles. Thank you so much.
Antonio?
Being right by your side. Some of you I've known for 40 years. Some of you I've known longer than that. I've been right by your side my entire life. I started out at 15 years old with the Farm Workers Boycott. I started out with United Mexican American Students and the Black Student Union at 15. I've been fighting for immigrants my entire life. I have fought for you the entire time I've been in public life. I know your leaders. I know you're elected, but also the people that, as Katie said, are doing the work. Working in our buildings, working at the airport, working at the stadiums. I've talked to you, I've worked with you, I've fought for you my entire life. I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this union. Y quiero decir en español, como alguien que no hablaba ni una palabra de español como joven, que he estado con ustedes toda mi vida. Y la gente, todos hablan muy bien, todos vamos a hablar bien. Pero se define el hombre y la mujer no por sus palabras. Se define el hombre y la mujer por sus acciones. Y no las acciones recién, las acciones sobre muchas décadas. Muchas gracias.
Javier.
Me
quiero parar. I'm sorry?
We're going to ask everybody to sit, take their seat.
How about if I just stand right here? I won't move. Okay. Yo me quiero parar porque estoy con mi familia. Y entiendo bien que yo puedo pararme porque estoy parado sobre los hombros de todos ustedes que trabajaron tan duro. All I simply said, I'm standing because I know who I'm standing before and I owe you respect for everything you've done. I will tell you, you know me because you raised me. Me criaron ustedes. Yo soy hijo de migrantes. Mis padres, un obrero en la construcción, una trabajadora en la oficina, they worked hard. They were able to send me to college. They were able to make sure I could fight for you as a congressman, then as an attorney general, then as your secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. And now I hope you'll give me the chance to fight for you as governor. Why? Because I want to tell you that as soon as I step in, this is what I will give you a right to. You will have a right to a living wage. And yes, I will join you in your fight for $30 an hour as you fight to win to make sure you are covered. I will make sure you have a right to have a home. If you are one of these workers who's working full-time, you will have a right to a home, safe from the streets. You will have a right to make sure that you have a doctor so you can have your preventative primary care services. I will make sure within the first moment I step into office, I will put a freeze on utility rates and insurance premiums for your property insurance. Because right now we have to make sure we take the gougers out of the system. We have to make sure that everyone is getting a fair share. And so let's do this together.
Thank you. I'm going to remind our candidates to please, we're asking everybody to stay in their seats as well as to be timely on the time. So that's the first warning, everybody.
My name's Tom Steyer, and I come from a family that believes in service. My mom was a teacher, my dad was a Navy vet. I came out to California 40 years ago to start a business, and it turns out I was pretty good at it, and I built a pretty big business, and I walked away from it 14 years ago to get back to my family values of service. And that means really standing up for the working people of this state who have built the state and make it run. What does it mean? I've taken on and won with the SEIU, always as my partner, corporate interests across this state. We took on the oil companies in 2010 and beat them. We took on the tobacco companies in 2016 and beat them. We took on multinationals in 2012 and beat them, all at the ballot box, doing things that no one else was willing or able to do, and putting billions of dollars into healthcare and education for the people of California without charging the Californian people a penny. And that's what I'm gonna do. The first thing I'm gonna do as governor is go after more corporate tax loopholes. Corporate real estate tax loopholes, where they declare their earnings, and I'm gonna bring 15 to 20 billion new dollars for healthcare and for education at this state. We've been winning together. We have gotten results. I intend to keep winning together with the SEIU and getting results for the people of California.
Ian?
Well, thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it, and it's an honor to be in front of you. And thank you for all that you've done for our state. I grew up in East LA. I grew up in the city of Whittier. My father was the first Latino lawyer ever elected to the state Senate. I was the first of my generation ever elected to the state legislature and the youngest majority leader in the history of our state. And all throughout my tenure in the legislature, nearly a decade, I was with you 100% of the time. So you don't need to ask yourself if I'm going to be with you, because I have a track record of always being with you. But I'm running for governor because it's too hard to live in this state. And it doesn't have to be this hard, and it shouldn't be this hard. You work hard every single day to support yourselves, to make sure that your kids, your family has a future in this state. And what has this state said to you? Well, you're going to be a renter for the rest of your life. Home ownership isn't for you.
Your groceries are going to be through the roof. Your gas, oh, well, you know what? Why don't you just buy that $100,000 Tesla, because that's what's going to get you around all day, and we haven't even invested in the infrastructure to make that feasible for you. This state has lost the plot, and it's lost the plot because politicians have convinced themselves that they're the main attraction, not you, not the workers. This state has stopped working for you. That's why you can't buy a home. That's why you can't afford your life. And you're never going to have affordability and a pathway to home ownership until you have accountability. You are expected to be accountable. You don't pay a bill, you're going to be held accountable. The state needs the same scrutiny. That's how we're going to get to path, and we need an affordable California for all of you because you work hard and deserve it.
Eric, raise your right hand if our country and California are in trouble. Keep it up and raise your left hand if it's the most trouble you've seen in your lifetime. That's why I'm running for governor. People are scared, prices are high, and the next governor of California has two jobs. One, keep the worst president ever out of our homes, out of our streets, and out of our lives. I have done that in Congress. I've taken this guy on for 10 years. I helped lead his impeachment. I have the only remaining lawsuit against him for what he did on January 6th. I will always go on offense for Californians. I introduced legislation this week to strip ICE of their immunity. These guys think they're invincible. They're not. I will go on offense. I will prosecute them when they kidnap people, when they assault people, and when they murder people. The masks are coming off. I will take away your driver's licenses, Governor, if you wear a mask in our state to terrorize women. I will go on offense. Second, I'm going to bring down the damn prices. Sine, you told me earlier today, if we're the fourth largest economy in the world, why does it cost so much to live here? My promise to you, we're going to build houses like crazy. And when you say we're the fourth largest economy in the world, you don't say it like a data point. You say it because you're a shareholder in it. It means something to you. The people who contribute to it, not just those at the top, have a stake in it. That's the California promise I'm going to bring, a new California.
Tony?
Good afternoon. Buenos tardes. I want to say thank you to all of you for all that you do for our communities. And while English is my primary language, yo quiero decir gracias para todo que los hacen para las comunidades en California. I want to thank you for all that you do. And I want you to know that as your governor, I will continue to fight against Trump, just like I did when he illegally stole $6 billion from our state. We sued his you-know-what and got that money back for California, for our migrant families, for our after-school programs. And I was proud to author the legislation that keeps ICE out of our schools, to support the legislation that keeps ICE out of our hospitals and our emergency rooms. No one should be afraid to be able to go see a doctor or to go to school or to go to work. Yo soy el hijo de los inmigrantes. My grandparents came here from Colombia, from Jamaica. On my mom's side, they immigrated all the way from Detroit, Michigan, by way of Mississippi. I will work with the black and brown communities, and together we will build economic prosperity for all Californians. As your governor, I will work with Congress, and we will create a path to citizenship for all those who want to live, work, and pay taxes in California and live the American dream and contribute to the American dream. And we will do this together while we build housing, create jobs, and good wages for you and your members. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today.
Okay, well, thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. And now we'd like to direct questions to the state from the microphone. And for our first question of the day, we have Disneyland. I'm sorry, speaking of my. Oh, you want to put your headsets on for translation as well. Not all the. I'm sorry, I should have said this before. Two things. One, if everybody can put their phones on silence so we don't get interrupted. And two, questions will be asked in Spanish. So in case if you're not bilingual, please use a headset. The first one will be in English, so you're fine for this one. But the next ones will be in Spanish. So our first question of the day, we have Disneyland cast member, executive board member, industry vice president, Danny Chavez.
Thank you, David, and thank you all for being here with us today. My name is Danny Chavez, and I'm in my 5th year as a custodian at Disneyland and a lifetime resident of the city of Anaheim. I was born and raised with Disneyland in my backyard. in a neighborhood where families could afford to own their home on a single income. My mom didn't have to work. One of my fondest memories growing up was during the summertime, we used to climb on the roof and watch the Disneyland fireworks show at night. Those same homes are being rapidly replaced by high-rise apartment buildings and condos that the working families can't afford to own or rent. I'll never be able to raise a family in the city I grew up in. I can't afford it. Even the so-called affordable housing units are out of reach, both price-wise and availability-wise. To live comfortably in Anaheim, I work 3 jobs. During the week is an office job, weeknights at Disneyland, and as a server on the weekends. And I'm a single person with no children. I can't even begin to imagine what my coworkers who have families do and have to sacrifice to make ends meet. Nearly 90% of Disney cast members spend more than half of their income on rent alone. The majority can't even afford to live in Anaheim or even the Orange County, and they're forced to commute 1 to 2 hours each way. That's up to 4 hours on the road a day. Some of my coworkers live in motels and some even living in their cars. Homelessness amongst Disney cast members is so prevalent that there's even a 2022 documentary by Disney heiress Abigail Disney that highlights low wages and housing insecurity that Disney cast members face. But this isn't just a Disney worker problem. Across California, working people are giving up their health, their time, and their stability just to survive. Meanwhile, the wealthy corporations that we work for continually post record profits, and their CEOs' pockets are being lined. It was recently reported that Disney is valued at $240 billion, with Bob Iger making $41 million last year. I make $25 an hour. California housing policies have poured billions of taxpayer dollars into wealthy developers' pockets. Yet our rent keeps rising, and families are pushed further and further out. So my question for you is this. If elected, what will you do to ensure that California housing policies actually make it affordable for the working class to live in the counties that we work in, instead of enriching and incentivizing the wealthy developers? And what will you use the tax revenue from these corporations to help fund it?
Thank you for your question. I have sat with SEIU members and watched that film that you mentioned, and it's called American Fairy Tale. It's about fairy tales, because that is what it feels like for so many workers, including those at Disney, who feel like the idea of the American dream has become a fairy tale rather than something that they can work for and that they can earn. When I was in Congress, I had the chance to question some of the most powerful people in America. And I didn't use my time to curry favor with them, seeking donations. I used my time to ask the questions that my constituents in Orange County, folks like you, wanted to know. So when I had the chance to question Jamie Dimon, the head of one of the largest banks in the world, Chase Bank, I asked him, went line by line, through the budget of somebody, a single mom with 1 child in Orange County, her rent for a 1-bedroom apartment she shared with her daughter, her food, her insurance, all of those costs. And I asked him, when she ran out of money toward the end of the month, what should she do? Should she get a loan, a credit card from his bank? Should she bounce checks at his bank? And I will never, ever forget what he said. He said, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Because he never has thought about what it is like for his workers. This was somebody who can solve problems that involve billions and trillions of dollars, but he was silent, speechless, when he was asked to face the budget problems that his own workers and you all face every single day. I am the only candidate on this stage, I shouldn't say that. I am almost the only candidate on this stage keeps growing, who does not take corporate contributions. What does that mean? It means I'm going to fight for you.
Thank you, and I'm going to remind us again to keep an eye on the screen in front. So with that, Antonio.
Thank you for sharing that story. You know, I wish that story was a unique one. It's not. There are people living in Temecula driving to LA. There are people living in Orange County or Bakersfield driving to Orange County. There are people who sleep in their car like you do. In fact, there are hotel workers during this last strike. One of the things we read about were all those people that take 2 hours, 3 hours to come to work, and they end up staying during the week and living in their car, and then showering somewhere. That's unacceptable. You know, we love to say that we're the 4th largest economy in the world, and we are. But what nobody says, and I've been saying for years now, we have the highest poverty rate. Yes, we have a poverty rate. We're tied with Louisiana for the highest poverty rate in the United States. Why? Because of the cost of living. People can't afford rent. They can't buy a house. The average house is $900,000. They can't afford gas, the highest gas prices in the United States, the highest utility costs that have gone up 60%. So yes, we have to build more housing. We got to make it easier, cut regulations, particularly CEQA. We got to build affordable workforce, market rate, all of the housing. And I'll do that as your governor.
Thank you. Javier?
Danny, I think the biggest issue here is what I think everyone here recognizes is that there are some people who are carrying their weight to build this country, and there are others who are not paying their fair share. And clearly, if you're a billionaire and you're paying taxes at a lower rate than the people in this room, that is not fair share. It is time to say in California, the 4th largest economy in the world, that we will expect everyone to pay their fair share, because it's time that we stop letting employers and companies get subsidized by paying low wages and then having taxpayers, and you're paying taxes, pay for the cost of health care, of housing, of having to go to a food pantry. No, we will fight. That's why I said to you at the very beginning, if I'm governor, I will give you the right to have a living wage. That doesn't mean I'm going to pay you Bob Iger salaries. I'm just going to make sure you can stay in Anaheim. You can afford to live there. It's not that difficult. We're going to build a lot of housing. But here's the other thing I'm going to do. Because some people, I had help from my parents to buy my first home. Not everyone can count on that. We will expand the programs that help you have the down payment you need so you will get into your home. That's how we will do it together, because we are a family. If we work together and have everyone pay their fair share, we will get this done. And Danny, you will live in Anaheim in your own home.
Tom, your story is the entire rationale behind my campaign, which is that working Californians can no longer afford to live in California. And specifically, I have said that I will take on corporate interests and beat them with the help of the SEIU, as I have for years, and raise $15 to $20 billion per year for Californians without charging them. But I do want to talk specifically about housing, because housing is the big elephant in the room. People cannot afford rent, and people cannot afford to buy. And why is that? Because we don't build housing. So when we talk about why are rents so high, it's because there aren't enough houses. And when we talk about why it's too expensive to buy one, because so many other people want to buy it. We need to break the logjam. And it's going to be a tough job, but the governor is the person who has to do it. That means making it much faster and easier to permit, different zoning, and building for half the price. There are technologies now to make that possible. Talking about how terrible it is, we all know how terrible it is. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And I have specific plans to bring down the cost of housing so people can afford rent. In the short term, this is a government failure, not a human failure. We need government response. We need to control rent in the short run and build housing in the long run and make it happen. It's the governor's job, and I promise you, on day one, I will take this as an emergency and get it done.
Ian?
Hey, Danny. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm so sorry that that's what you have to experience in this state. I'm running because we need a new generation of leadership that is going to be creative and innovative in how we solve for these challenges. What you're facing and what you're experiencing, Tom's right, it's a failure of leadership. Who's been in power? Democrats. Where can we hide? We can't, because we didn't see this issue for what it was. When I started my campaign for the Assembly at 25, I was running because I represented a generation whose voice wasn't at the table. And when I got elected at 27, 10 years ago, I introduced legislation that said no corporation should be competing against a first-time home buyer. Corporations and foreign investors are coming into our communities and pricing us out of our homes. They own 1.45 million homes in the state. 1 in 5 homes are owned by a corporate or foreign investor. I saw that 10 years ago, the 27-year-old kid that nobody thought was going to get elected, nobody thought was going to be effective. Nobody wanted to have that conversation. No one. And look where we're at. We need affordable housing. So you know what we need? You need a tax credit that's refundable, so you get $1,200 in your pocket every year to put towards saving for your down payment. We need to advantage homeowners, extend Proposition 13 to first-time home buyers so that they get the benefits of Proposition 13 and can get in that home. And you know what? You know how we're going to pay for all of this? We're going to charge large fees upfront and annual to make corporations and foreign investors buying our homes, pricing us out of our communities. They're going to be the ones that are going to pay for us to get into our homes.
Eric? Danny, here's my California promise. You should be able to take your first job, have your first kid, and buy your first home in the same decade. Here's the problem. In California, it's too damn hard to build and search housing. We have 400,000 regulations on the books and about 1,000 new regulations each year. We are a blue state held down by red tape. I'm going to get rid of that. On day one, I'm going to declare a housing emergency in all 58 counties. What we did in Altadena and the Palisades, we're going to do everywhere. I'm going to tell every agency you have 90 days to approve or deny every outstanding application. A goal without a deadline is a dream. I'm going to get shit done. I'm not here to dream because I know that means you're going to go into a house. I'm also going to eliminate the 8. The 8% tax rate is where most Californians, the majority, pay. I'm going to collapse it into the 6%, give over $1,000 a year back to Californians. I've done this as a city council member and a planning commissioner in my hometown of Dublin. When I grew up there, it was a place of low income and lower expectations. They called us Scrublin. But we worked with builders, developers, and labor to have high expectations on developers, that if you built in our town, you built new schools, new firehouses, new senior centers, and that town of Dublin, where I graduated in 1999, 25% of us went to college. Today, 96% go to college. We have Fortune 500 companies in our town. They don't call us Scrublin anymore. I'm going to do that across the whole state.
Tony?
Danny, thank you for what you shared. I've got a family member who is your coworker at Disney right now, who's worked there for 20 years as a greeter. Every one of her children has worked there. She's got grandkids who are still working there. And I'm going to make this simple. You asked for a direct answer to a direct question. What are we going to do? And I'm going to tell you, as governor, I'm going to tax billionaires so we have the money for affordable housing and health care and schools. And then I'm going to give you and everyone in this room and California working people a tax credit so you have more money in your pocket, a couple $100 a month, every month for the rising costs of gas and groceries. And so we also have to get after those big corporations that have bought up all of the units in this state. And as governor, I'm going to make sure we charge them with a big fee because they're holding on to the housing stock, and that's driving the prices up and preventing all of us from being able to get a place. And then, as governor, I'm going to build 2 million housing units all across the state, in every county in this state. There is surplus property that we can use to build housing right now that needs no more permitting, and we're going to build that by the year 2030. My mother, who was born in Panama, bought a house, and after she passed away when I was 6 years old, we lost that house. And my family, we talk about it, we can never buy it back now. The American dream has slipped away. Together, we're going to bring it back for all of you and all of Californians. Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you, candidates. So now we'd like to have our next question. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Danny, thank you so much for just sharing your story, and because it's going to be etched in all of our minds as we continue our candidacy and as we look to become the next governor. Look, we've declared housing emergencies in the past before, but now it's about action and it's about leadership. And so it is about, how do we get more housing supply online quickly? And there are ways to do that. There are existing structures we can rehab, modernize, and actually not have the affordability issues that we see with new housing. So we need to just really declare this a matter of urgency. But I want to say something that I don't think we've touched on. We have a growing wealth gap here in California. And it's growing significantly each and every day. Those who have the most, the top earners, continue to get rich, and the rest are lagging behind. We have to raise wages, and we also have to cut the cost of health care, child care, elder care, but more importantly, give you all the supports to continue to thrive in being able to earn more. And so this is more than just about housing. I think we all know that this is because it's been a lack of leadership, but it's about an investment in you. We're going to have some very tough budgets these next few years. We are not going to be able to cut our way out of it. We're not going to be able to tax our way out of it, but we can start investing in our working people so that we know our economy can continue to grow, and really with all of you sharing in that prosperity.
Thank you. So our next question, we have 2 executive board members and airport passenger service workers, Laura Esquivel from LAX and Nestor Dolde from San Francisco Airport.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Laura Esquivel y orgullosa de ser emigrante de México y madre de 4 hijos. Yo he trabajado en el aeropuerto por 24 años y soy limpiadora de cabinas para los aviones. Trabajo en unas aerolíneas que son multimillonarias. Ayer el gobierno nos traicionó. Propuso eliminar programas de acceso a salud y alimentos del presupuesto que viene de nuestros impuestos. Dicen que nos defienden, pero cuando más los necesitamos, nos quitan del presupuesto del Estado. Los inmigrantes serán los más afectados con los recortes y nuestras comunidades podrían desmoronarse. Hoy queremos escuchar un compromiso serio, no solo promesas. Les presento a mi compañero Néstor.
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, honorable gubernatorial candidates. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi, my name is Nestor Dolde. I have worked at the San Francisco International Airport for 17 years, but I have been working in the aviation industry for almost 50 years. I am a proud immigrant from the Philippines, and I'm proud to be the father of 4 and grandfather of 5 beautiful grandchildren. Our union foundation is solidarity. We are stronger because of our diversity. As governor, you have the important responsibility to pass a budget. We were outraged when we learned that some immigrants were denied health care because they may not have the right documents. Immigrants in California contribute tremendously. Laura and I work in the multi-billion-dollar aviation industry. And together, we have worked for almost 75 years for billionaire companies, but we make less than $25 an hour. California claims to be the sanctuary state for immigrants, but a budget has been proposed that exclude many immigrants from accessing food programs and health care. Balancing the budget on the back of immigrants is wrong. As such, this is our question. Are you committed to passing a budget that includes all immigrants and to never again exclude immigrant California from the budget? Second, how will you be the champion who defends immigrants, workers, and our families during this difficult time? Are you going to be that leader? Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Nestor. Antonio, you're first.
As I said in my opening, Nestor, I've been that leader my whole life. Not just when I was in office, everyone. I've walked the picket line with SEIU, AFSCME, the teachers, virtually every union in this state. I came out of the unions. Laura, I can tell you, I said earlier, you're not what you say, you're what you do. We all can speak well. I stood up for airport workers way back when at LAX with Mike Garcia, with David, with your union. I stood up for them, and I always will. With respect to providing health care and other benefits to the undocumented, I tell people who are opposed to health care for the undocumented, say, hold it. We already pay for that. It's called emergency care. And if we provide health care to the undocumented throughout the years, it's actually less than the emergency care we provide. I took on 187. I wasn't just talking about it. I took it on. I've stood up with immigrants my entire life. I couldn't speak a lick of Spanish, Nestor, when I grew up. I learned it fighting for immigrants since I was 15. So yes, Laura and Nestor, I will stand with you. I will fight for you. I will fight for immigrants. I have my entire life. Thank you so much for your work and your courage.
Javier?
Laura and Nestor, first, I must say to you, as the son of immigrants, thank you for everything you did for your children, your grandchildren, to give them that chance. My parents, my dad didn't get past the 6th grade. He was the oldest of 8. My mom didn't come to this country till she married my father when she came from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. You work hard. You have proven you have earned a place in our state and our country. And because of that, as governor, I will give you the right, not just a privilege, the right to earn a living wage. I will make sure you have the right to access the doctor you and your family need. I will make sure you have a right to have a home for that will keep you safe and off the streets. I will make sure that I treat you the way I would treat my parents because you worked hard the way they did. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to have someone who actually has stood up and done that. I'm the only one on this stage who can tell you that I have fought directly with Donald Trump and beat him in court all the way to the Supreme Court. When Donald Trump tried to take out and eliminate the DACA program for Dreamers, I was the Attorney General from California who sued. And I went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we beat Donald Trump, and DACA is still alive for our Dreamers. When Donald Trump was president the first time, he tried to eliminate Obamacare. I was the Attorney General that led the lawsuit that went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won and we beat Donald Trump in the Supreme Court. We'll do it again for you, Laura, and for you, Nestor.
Thank you.
Tom? So let me say, we're all immigrants. Everybody in this room is an immigrant. And the idea that immigrants haven't built, don't build, and in the future won't continue to build this country is absurd. The issue that you're bringing up, and let me say, our family has supported the Good Samaritan Family Resource Center to welcome immigrants to San Francisco without ever looking at a document for 40 years. This is the lifeblood, you are the lifeblood of this state and this country. So let's just start with, we're all immigrants and we share this. But this is about a democratic state taking away rights. This is about, if you'll excuse me saying so, these are Democrats saying we can't afford this anymore. Because this exists right now, they're taking it away. So let's talk about how we never have to take this away. That's why I'm talking about $15 to $20 billion a year from corporations to come into health and into education to support these kinds of specific problems, to support these programs, to pay the people of the SEIU to deliver services and for Californians to get services, including specifically immigrants. I'm talking about the money, taking it from corporations and delivering it to the people specifically with specific plans that we will do, because I think people are well-intentioned. They just don't think they can afford it. And we absolutely can if we'll take on the interest.
Thank you. Ian?
I'm going to be with you, and you can count on me. And that's not lip service. It's fact, because I did it when I was in the legislature. I was in the assembly, and I was the majority leader when Donald Trump first got elected. Jerry Brown was governor. And we knew that he was coming into our communities and terrorizing our friends and our families, and authored SB 52, our sanctuary state bill, to protect our immigrants and to protect our communities, to protect our friends and protect our families, to lead the fight with then Attorney General Becerra on our DACA students and making sure that they, who live in the worst place ever, not feeling like they belong anywhere, had a voice and had a right to fight for their place in California and their place in this state. But we don't have accountability at the state level. We don't have forensic auditing. We are wasting billions of dollars a year on programs with no accountability. And think about what we could fund if we stopped that waste, fraud, and abuse. We don't have to do it. We don't have to balance the budget on your back. We can find the money to create a universal basic healthcare system so that you have preventative and primary care, maternal care, the basic needs that's portable so that you can go to the doctor when you need to go to the doctor. We are not efficient and effective in government. And we need to think differently, to find money, not just through taxation, because I'm telling you right now, the general public, they do not trust the state with more tax dollars. They want to know that we can be responsible with the money that we already have. And with the money that we already have, we can protect you and we can stand and fight for you. And that's my commitment to you as governor.
Thank you. Thank you.
As governor, healthcare is going to be a human right for every Californian, period. Every Californian. I have voted 70 times against Republican efforts to take away the Affordable Care Act. I just voted this week to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. My promise to you is this: even when I am 6 feet under, I don't care if you are a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, a vegetarian, I will reach up from the soil and stop you from taking away people's health care. I know how hard you work and what you expect. No one gets on their plane unless you show up and do your job. You deserve affordable health care. When you're a healthy person, you have 100 concerns in the world. When you're a sick person, you just have one. You want to be well. That is the job of the government. Here's how we're going to do it. One plan that I have is I intend that we're going to be in the majority in the House of Representatives, because you worked your asses off to pass Prop 50. And when we're in the majority, the chair of my campaign, who is Congressman Jimmy Gomez, knows we're going to work with Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, and we are going to claw back so much of what has been taken away from California. I sat next to Speaker Pelosi on her leadership team when she did this in the last 2 years of the Trump administration, getting back so much of what was taken away. She picked his wallet every single time. I am counting on helping us go into the majority, so that's a big part of our revenue plan, is to get back so much of what was taken through this big, brutal bill. And Jimmy, you're going to help me do it.
Tony?
Thank you, Lara. Thank you, Nestor. Yes, as governor, I will support our healthcare programs for all immigrants and undocumented immigrants, and food programs as well. As governor, I'm going to pass a single-payer healthcare system so that everyone in our state has access to healthcare. Healthcare is a right. Let me tell you why I'm going to do it. My grandmother, who was born in San Andres, Colombia, she cleaned houses to provide for her family. My mother, who was born in Panama, immigrated here to be a teacher, but when she passed away, I was raised by another Panamanian who worked as a nurse's aide to make sure that we could have a life. And in our household, we went without food so often. I grew up on free lunch, I grew up on food stamp programs, and on government cheese. We ate so much government cheese that I thought that USDA was a brand name. These programs help my family to overcome poverty, and it is incumbent on our government to continue to support it. That's why, as a legislator, Ian and I both provided the Universal Meals Program so every hungry student in our state has access to meals. Ian and I both, as legislators, pass universal health care for all, including undocumented immigrants. And when I'm governor, we will restore health care for undocumented immigrants in the state of California. Yeah. We will do this by taxing the billionaires. We will do this by holding big corporations accountable that don't pay their wages and cheat their employees out. We will take care of these programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Nestor. Thank you, Laura. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, something I said. It's okay. Laura and Nestor, thank you so much. First of all, you have my commitment that we are going to fully fund healthcare for all Californians, and particularly for our immigrant Californians, regardless of status. You know, look, I'm the only one on the stage who's been a budget director, and I will tell you it's about priorities. It's about priorities. If you make this a priority and you fund it, that's the value that we all carry about what we consider to be important. And I look at how hard all of you work here. And it just reminds me of my own parents who did the same. You know, everything's a fight. Everything is a fight. Nothing's given to us. And yet what we know is that if we prioritize this, we know how to fund it. And yes, it is about looking at waste, fraud, and abuse. But frankly, as your controller, we found $7.5 billion of it, and there's probably more. But it is about how we really have the corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. Look, they're getting the red carpet rolled out for them right now in Washington, D.C. We are all paying 3 times over what we have been paying prior to the Trump administration, with the tariffs and the prices of everything that we're paying for every day, with the all the cuts that are looming, and certainly with the taxes that we're expected to pay. And I'm just going to say this for the record in case people forget, undocumented immigrants pay taxes. And they don't get the benefits that they're paying into at the time of the end of their work life. So we need to fix that as well. You have my commitment.
Katie?
You hear people talk about wanting to be the governor of California, as if they want to rule over our state and over our people. I want to be the governor for Californians. And that is an important difference. The people who work in this state and who live in this state, who seek care and education in this state, that's the state. That's what you're fighting for. It's about recognizing that this isn't about what happens in Sacramento. It's about what happens when you go home to your apartment. It's about the story that your grandchild or grandchildren, Nestor, tell you about what they want their future to be in California. And whether that future, Laura, is going to be brighter for your kids than it has been for you, because you deserve nothing less. When we talk about immigrants, and we even get into these conversations about should we have this or that for immigrants, we are making the fundamental mistake of separating us from each other. We are Californians. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of how I will think about this issue. You are not just immigrants. You are not primarily immigrants. You are people. You are Californians. You are my neighbors. You are my coworkers. You are my friends. You are people that I pray with, that my kids learn with. And David asked me earlier, he asked us to carry you in our minds. I'm going to carry you in my heart. That's my pledge to you.
Thank you. So for our next question, we have our COPE activist and security officer from Sacramento, Jamal Hunt. Jamil.
Greetings, candidates. My name is Jamil Hunt. I am a 12-year security officer with Ally Universal working out of our capital, Sacramento. And I am a proud, outspoken black man.
Amen.
As a security officer, I work in close contact with both local PD and those suffering from mental health issues. And as a security officer, I have a whole lot of responsibility on my hands to treat others with respect and dignity. But as a black man in America, I am no stranger to the horrors of police brutality, from personal experience to watching those less fortunate in their dealings. That's why it's horrifying to see what is happening in our country, particularly the hate-filled policies aimed at my immigrant brothers and sisters. In Texas, Governor Abbott has kidnapped migrants and shoved them across the country. In Florida, Governor DeSantis created a concentration camp in the Everglades, challenged by our indigenous brethren. And just a few days ago, in Minneapolis, ICE agents shot and murdered, in cold blood, Renee Good, a U.S. citizen, poet, wife, and mother of 3. But Miss Good is not the only one who has been violently taken. Hundreds have died in ICE or Border Patrol custody, men, women, and children, many others by our local agencies. ICE and Border Patrol have violently demonstrated they are an out-of-control agency. As my brethren Nestor has stated, we claim to be a sanctuary state, yet federal agents were able to tackle and pepper spray our president, David Huerta, while he was exercising his First Amendment right. They want to silence us. They want to intimidate us, but we will not stand by it. Enough is enough. Excessive use of force by law enforcement must come to an end in our lifetimes in our state. My question is, what are you prepared to do to hold any agency from the local level to the federal level accountable for their use of excessive force and the violation of human rights? And will you use your powers as governor to, once and for all, rid our state of the violent actions of law enforcement?
Javier, you're first on this one.
Jamil, first, thank you for your work and for representing us all so well and making us proud that any person can stand up and protect families. And so what I will tell you is when I was the Attorney General of California, I stood by you because when LA County was violating people's rights, I took an action. They're called pattern and practice investigations to stop that pattern and practice of illegality. I took on the Bakersfield Police Department because they were doing the same abuses as well. I took on the school police of Stockton Unified School District because they were providing suspension and arrest of mostly young men of color, and we took them on for doing that. As governor, I will do exactly the same thing because I know what it means to enforce. Unlike anyone else on this stage, I've actually done exactly what you want us to do as the next governor. I will enforce. I will make sure everyone, including those wearing the badge, follow the law because you know what it means to do it right. And we need more people like you who are trained and will handle it the right way. Let me say to you, it is only certain populations that get attacked. You know this. When I was a teenager, I was pulled over by a cop. I had done nothing wrong. The cop actually at the end let me go, and he was pretty decent. But why did he stop me in the first place, other than because of the color of my skin? That's what we have to stop is the bias, the implicit bias that we know exists. We have to fight not just the very evident discrimination and abuse, but the things that we know are in the back of people's minds. You need to stand up. We need to stand with you because together we will make sure California is a place where everyone knows they have peace and justice.
Tom?
So, Jamil, I want to echo what Javier said in terms of thank you very much for the work you do, and thank you very much for standing up for racial justice. I think that California is so lucky to actually be the rainbow coalition that we are. We are the state that is the most diverse, thank God. And I think we need to show the rest of the country and the world how it looks when you have a rainbow coalition where everyone is treated equally. Okay, so yes, that's the first point, and I completely agree that we should be criminally going after anyone within our state who doesn't follow those rules. But we also know that when it comes to racial attacks, to criminal attacks on American citizens based on race, based on ethnicity, that it's really coming out of Washington, D.C. That is the source of this kind of anger and hate. And I think it's absolutely, look, I took these guys on starting in 2017, 8 million signatures, impeach this criminal. It hasn't gotten better, it's gotten worse, and it will continue to get worse. So yes, we have to be good within California to show the other way, but we need to stand up directly to this president, to his 60,000 masked, assault rifle equipped secret police that is here to intimidate, especially immigrant communities and communities of color. And I guarantee you that is job one, to show California who we are. That's our value. I swear I will never move off that.
Ian?
Jamil, it's good to see you again. And we talked a little bit about this when we had the overall SEIU town hall in LA about a month or so ago, 2 months ago. Having laws on the book, they don't matter unless you enforce them. They don't matter unless you follow through. The legislature can pass every law under the sun, but if it isn't enforced, then there's no consequence, there's no deterrent. There's no accountability. We have state laws, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a federal police officer or an ICE agent. You come into our state and you break one of our fucking laws, you're gonna be criminally charged. That's it. You do not get to come into our state and break our laws on criminal profiling. You don't get to come into our state and commit murder and be treated any differently than a serial killer would be treated, than anybody else that would be treated when you come into our state and you break our laws. What's happening in Minnesota, what happened with the deaths at the hands of federal officers, and what happened is that the state can't get into the courtroom. They can't get the information that they need to be able to determine what happened. If we take that control back and we file criminal charges against the individual that committed the crime and broke our laws, which we have every right to do, we're gonna bring back accountability. And we're gonna make them think twice, because you come into our state, you break our laws, you're gonna be held accountable.
Eric?
I'm going to be a fighter and protector for Californians. That's what I have always done. I have taken this president to court, all the way up to the Supreme Court, where he lost. We're going to trial for what he did on January 6th. We will hold him accountable. I have legislation to strip ICE officers of their immunity so they don't think that they're invincible. I'm going to have a reveal-to-wheel policy in our state. You're losing your driver's license if you operate in our state with a mask on. Miss Good should be alive today. David, that could have been you. The way that they're conducting themselves, you're now lucky if all they did was drag you by the hair or throw you in an unmarked van or deport a 6-year-old US citizen battling stage 4 cancer. That's what they're doing. So when I vote in Congress, I am not going to spend or give a penny to these masked, mother-murdering thugs. I will be a fighter and protector for Californians. But I'm also the son of a cop and a brother to 2 cops. And the conduct of these officers makes good cops lumped in with bad cops. As governor, I'm going to invest in training for all of our police officers. We're going to increase the training. We're going to increase the bias awareness. We're also going to make sure any officer who operates in our state will operate with maximum transparency and body cameras, whether you're a federal officer or local officer.
Tony?
Plain and simple, any law enforcement officer who commits murder will be prosecuted. Plain and simple, end of story. David, thank you for your sacrifice. What we are witnessing is the worst of government and tyranny of government. thank you for what you do, Jamil. You know, I tried a long time ago. I know your job. It's a hard job. I couldn't do it. I was a security officer as a young man trying to work my way through college, and it is a very difficult job. And I thank you for what you and your colleagues do to keep us safe and keep our community safe. Having been elected for 18 years, has it made me free from the fact that I am a black man of Latino descent and that I have been pulled over many times, including, get this, you all, pulled over by law enforcement while I was riding with the California Highway Patrol. You know what I did? I put my hands on the dashboard like I told my daughters to do if you ever get pulled over, because I don't want anybody to lose their life because of some officer who chooses to kill an unarmed civilian. What happened in Minneapolis was murder. And as governor, I will work with Congress to flip Congress and to make sure that we zero out the budget for ICE. They should have no money. No money, no ICE. Let's just get them out. I'm proud of the legislation that I've passed to keep ICE out of our schools, supported legislation to keep ICE out of our hospitals, and to pass legislation that says ICE workers can't wear a mask in the state of California.
Betty?
Thank you, Jamil. I want to just follow up on Tony because you know who's paying for all of this in terms of the ICE enforcement? It's all of us. These are our taxpayer dollars. So we have to bring back the $45 billion for increased detention facility, the $170 billion that's going towards increased mass enforcement of immigrants. That's our money. And that's the priority of Congress, and I'm glad that we have Congressman Swalwell back there to fight this fight, but we need to reverse that funding in a big way because that is enabling them to do even more of what you've just described. Look, this is all about a power dynamic. It's a power dynamic because they're going after the least among us in their eyes. And what we have to do is to continue to build and strengthen and just bring communities together. You know, as governor here in California, I will tell you that you know, we ought to be investing in all of our communities, but particularly in our brown and black communities that we have neglected for so long. These are communities for the picking, for people in power. And when we are able to stand together and have healthy communities where law enforcement comes in and actually sees these communities as partners, where we can actually talk about public safety and what that means truly, that's how we're going to change this dynamic. And so I stand with you every single step of the way. It's a power dynamic, and that power starts with the chief executive of the state of California, the governor, to say that we will not tolerate this.
Katie?
Everyone deserves to be safe in their community. Everyone deserves to be safe in California. And what Donald Trump is doing and what ICE is doing is not making anyone safer. It's putting all of us in danger, and people are losing their lives. But people are also losing confidence in government. They're losing trust in the law enforcement officers that are working hard to keep us safe and protect us. It is incredibly important that we be very, very clear about California's unwillingness to ever cooperate with unconstitutional, unlawful, unmoral activity, because that's what ICE is engaged in. As a security officer, you see people come into your store, come into your community, and they need help. But too often, what they get is criminalization. When I was in Congress, I worked on this problem, and I passed a bill through the House of Representatives that was called the Mental Health Justice Act. And what it did was provide funding for communities to deploy caregivers. When somebody is dealing with substance use, when someone is in mental health crisis, they don't need someone to come and put a weapon in their face. They don't need someone to scare their family and scare them. They need care. Funding those programs will make all the difference in being the community law enforcement officers being real partners to you so that everyone in California, regardless of race, can be safe.
Antonio?
Jamil, thank you. Thank you for standing up for justice. Thank you for standing up for immigrants. That solidarity is so important right now. I stood up with security officers back when I was mayor of Los Angeles. I was asked multiple times to call property owners and building owners to help them recognize your union.
I respect the work that you do, and I believe you should be paid a fair wage. Like Eric, I believe that the vast majority of police officers are not criminals. They have a tough job. But when they break the law, no one is above the law. Not a priest, not a police officer, not a politician. We are all accountable to the law. But I think it's important right now, everybody, that we distinguish between California law enforcement and ICE agents. Because in my lifetime, I have never seen people covered from head to toe like the Ku Klux Klan, with assault weapons, flashbang grenades, immediately, violently tried to arrest people. We had a woman killed in Minneapolis, 2 shot in Portland, and a couple of weeks ago, someone in Los Angeles shot. Too many people have been shot. As a matter of fact, about 16 of them. Too many people have been arrested, about 170 U.S. citizens. Thank you so much for your question, and I intend to work with you to make sure we get this done.
For our next question, or our last question, this is going to be in Spanish, so if you please put in your headsets. We have a janitor from downtown Los Angeles, a leader from our executive board and industry vice president, Julio Ramirez.
Hola, candidatos. Mi nombre es Julio Ramírez. Llegué a este país hace 40 años. Tengo 36 años de estar trabajando limpiando los edificios del centro de Los Ángeles, esos rascacielos multimillonarios, y gano $24.85. He estado en la lucha obrera e inmigrante siempre. Hemos luchado mucho por una unión. Nos ha costado sangre, sudor y lágrimas. Hemos luchado contra el robo salarial, contra el acoso sexual, y hemos luchado por pasar leyes para mejorar el bienestar de los trabajadores con unión o sin unión. Pero la realidad es que nuestros ingresos no alcanzan para vivir dignamente el nivel de vida de estos tiempos. Los ricos están más ricos y los trabajadores no avanzamos económicamente. Al ganar usted la gobernatura, ganaría la 4ª economía más grande del mundo. Pero como van las cosas, los trabajadores estaremos rezagados. Es urgente establecer una estructura de gobierno donde los trabajadores puedan determinar salarios y condiciones laborales que vayan de la mano con la prosperidad económica. Con nuestras manos limpiamos los edificios más lujosos de este país, pero los millonarios se han hecho más ricos con nuestro sudor. Los trabajadores de California tenemos el derecho de un buen vivir y también de gozar el sueño californiano. No podemos seguir teniendo un gobierno de ricos mientras los trabajadores batallamos por vivir dignamente. Candidatos, el futuro también es de los trabajadores. Mi pregunta: ¿apoyarán la creación de una comisión donde los janitors y oficiales de seguridad, la industria de servicios tengan voz en crear estándares equitativos en toda la industria para mejorar nuestros salarios y condiciones de trabajo. Gracias.
So, Tom, we start with you.
So thank you very much for this question, because California at some level is the richest state in the United States by far and is incredibly successful. But at another level, we have the highest level of poverty and we have the highest level of inequality. And my whole point is shared prosperity is success. Prosperity that is unequal is failure. So when you ask, will I support a board so that there is justice in wages and benefits within your business sector? Absolutely. And let me say this. I mean, I'm speaking to the SEIU, which has been my best partner for 15 or 16 years in everything I've done. There is nothing that replaces unions. Unions are what stand up for working people and argue wages, argue benefits, argue safety. And I have been a supporter of unions, and we have worked together on every single thing I've ever done. We started a nonprofit community bank 20 years ago, my wife and I. There are 5,000 to 10,000 banks in the United States. 4 of them are unionized. We are unionized. It's a choice. So in answer to your question, I want to strongly say, unions are the answer. I will always support that, and the more broadly, the better.
Ian?
Workers are the backbone of our state. They're the backbone of our economy. There is no middle class without a union. I have always stood with unions. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go back and look at my voting record. 100%, 8 years strong. 100%. You guys will always have a seat at my table. I'm not going to be the candidate that's going to sit up here and tell you I have all the answers to all the problems facing our state. The problem with government and the problem with politicians is that they always think that they're the center of the universe and that they're going to solve all the problems by themselves. But that's not how you solve problems. That's not what labor is. Labor is bottom up. Bringing all the voices of the table to the table, all the perspectives, and learning, educating, and working together to solve the challenges so that nobody slips through the cracks. Too many people are slipping through the cracks. And that's what you're feeling. We don't have a representative government. We have a government that is focused on internet hype and pretty press releases. That can't be our future. We have to have a new generation of leadership that's going to step up, listen, and make sure that we are working together. And if it's creating a board so that you guys have a stronger voice, then that's what we're going to do. And you have my commitment.
Eric?
You deserve a governor who sees you and knows how hard you work, and that when we say we're the 4th largest economy in the world, you're not feeling that right now, but you created that. And when I get a governor, you're going to feel it because you're a part of it, and you do better for yourself and dream bigger for your kids. The issue of public safety. And I know many SEIU employees, particularly women, better rights for the shifts that they work, higher risk areas that they work in. I was a human trafficking prosecutor in Oakland. I know the risks that women face, and I'll make sure that when it comes to rights and enforcement, you are protected. You mentioned wage theft. I worked in an office in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office that went aggressively after wage theft against non-union employers. I will do the same as governor. And as far as paying for the services that everyone in the state deserves, here's my promise to you. When it comes to taxes, you talked about the buildings you worked in, sir. The companies that have the shortest distance between what the CEO makes and what the rank and file make, they're going to pay the lowest taxes. The companies that have the longest distance from what the CEO makes and what the rank and file make, they're going to pay the most taxes. We're going to lift up the wages of Californians because you contribute to the success of this economy. Now it's time for you to share in it.
Tony? Thank you. And yes, I'm happy to support the formation of the board that you've asked about. It would be my honor to do it. Just like it is my honor now as the state superintendent of schools in California to represent your brothers and sisters in SEIU 1000 who work in Los Angeles, who work in Pomona, who work in Riverside, who work in Sacramento and Fresno. It's been my honor to author legislation that forces companies that cheat their workers to pay their fair share, and I will continue to do so. It's my honor to support the hotel workers in LA and in San Francisco and other places in this state to make sure that they can get better wages. It's been my honor to support the legislation of our sister, who is the head of the Labor Federation of California, Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, that says we keep hotel workers safe, and we will continue to build on that. I'm proud to have been the labor chair in the California State Assembly, where we said we will always protect the rights of workers. I was raised by a union steward. She happened to work at the university that I attended. The first day I got to campus, I never made it to a single class because her union was on strike. Guess where I was? On the strike line. Power to the people, and we will continue to fight together. And we will make sure that we protect the rights to organize and the rights of workers and the rights of SEIU all across the state of California. Thank you so much.
Betty?
Yes. Yes to the board. But I just want to say to you, I hope that you're going to be asking us for a whole lot more. The board's just the beginning. And let me just say, one of the things that we have failed at is really enforcing some of the strongest labor laws that we have throughout the country here in California. We have not funded enforcement, and we have not put teeth into our labor laws. We need to start there. Why should a wage theft case take years and years to resolve when the employer has skipped town and the worker is left without? This is the typical scenario. We have to do better by that. But more importantly, here's the thing. This economy does not work without all of you. This economy can't grow without all of you. And this state can't afford all of the services that we hold dear, our public education system, our health care for everyone. I mean, all of the things that we know that makes for healthy communities and for each of us to thrive in our families does not work without you. As I say, if we don't take care of the people who take care of the rest of us, then what do we got? So the board's just the beginning, but I hope that you have a longer list about what it is that we need to do to be sure that those who are being left behind because of this growing wealth gap are going to begin to start catching up. And this is the power of unions. We need unions to continue the fight because we are losing ground. Wealth is being concentrated right now as we speak, and we need to reverse that. This is urgent, and I'm ready to get to work to begin that work.
Katie?
Mr. Ramirez, you shouldn't need a board because you should be able to count on government to do its job. You shouldn't have to go do it for it. Inherent in your question is what we have shown you, people on this stage have shown you over and over and over again, which is that you can't count on them to do their job, so that you want to step up and you want to serve, and we are grateful for that. I don't want you on a board, Mr. Ramirez. I want you in my administration. That's a difference. I think it is incredibly important that our next governor not take the same tools, like create a commission and create a board and put people over to one side and say, go work on a problem. We need to make sure the working people of California are working side by side as equal partners. I love what unions do. I love that you take on special interests. I love that you stand up to those who cheat. That's been my entire career. I'm a consumer protection lawyer. I've taken on big banks, I've taken on big pharma, I've taken on all of these important, powerful interests. But you know what I haven't ever done that makes me different than most of the candidates on this stage? Which is taken their checks. I am not a billionaire, and I am a candidate who over and over again has won some of the toughest races and the most expensive races in this country, and I have never taken a check from a corporation or a corporate PAC. Why do these problems not get solved? Because of who other candidates are working for. I want to work with you, Mr. Ramirez, not just for you.
Antonio. Señor Ramírez, tenemos una economía, como dije al principio, que es la cuarta economía en el mundo, con más pobreza que cualquier otro estado menos Luisiana, empatados con Luisiana en estos momentos. Yo creo que deberíamos de celebrar no que somos la cuarta economía, pero que queremos una economía que trabaja para la gente que están trabajando. Y ustedes trabajando en trabajos, algunos sin seguro, antes de estar en tu sindicato, ahora tienes un seguro, pero es muy difícil comprar los alimentos, rentar un departamento, comprar gas. La verdad es, el próximo gobernador sí tiene que apoyar esa comisión, claro, pero tenemos que hacer mucho más. Tenemos que crear una economía donde cuando trabajas puedes gozar lo que es el sueño americano, comprar una casita, tener un poquito en tu retiro, asegurar que sus hijos tienen buenas escuelas. Y yo tengo un récord de cumplimiento. Y en eso te puedo decir, no hay nadie aquí en este escenario que tiene el récord de jefe de gobierno como yo. Y yo voy a trabajar para ti. Muchas gracias.
Javier. Señor Ramírez, primeramente, cuente conmigo. Count on me. Y eso se lo digo no porque quiero ser su gobernador. Se lo digo porque usted es parte de mi familia. Mi papá empezó como campesino. Trabajó en el trabajo de construcción de carretera. Mi mamá en la oficina. Nunca ganaron mucho dinero, pero siempre trabajaron. Usted está levantando este país y yo lo tengo que elevar a usted y todos los que hacen ese mismo clase de trabajo. Lo próximo lo quiero decir en inglés. You mentioned, Mr. Ramirez, that you make about $26 an hour. That means that you are earning less than $60,000 a year after 40 years of work. I think people, not here, because you all know this, people who might watch this on TV have to understand this. You've given 4 decades to this state, and yet today you're making less than $60,000. Where can you live in California for that price? That's why we must demand that you and everyone here get a livable wage, and that's why I start off by saying that will be your right, because as governor, you will have someone who's part of your family who will guarantee it, and as Attorney General in the past has voted to defend you and your wages against wage theft and those who gouge you. It is time you will stand up and you will make more money when I am governor.
So I want to thank all the candidates for the responses to the questions. And now we're going into the closing remarks. And so closing remarks, we start with you, Ian, and then we'll work our way back.
First, David, you're a legend. Thank you so much for allowing me to share the stage with you, man. Let's get out, everybody give a round of applause to Dave. And it's an honor to be up here with all my colleagues and candidates, and it's an honor to be here before you. I'm just a dad. I've got 4 kids. My kids are 8, 6, 5, and 4. And I've got an amazing wife, and I just want to know that my family and my kids have a future in this state. And that's what you want. You want to know that you're welcomed in California's future. But you're not going to feel welcomed if you can't afford a home when you work every single day for year after year and you can't afford to buy a home. You can't afford your rent, your utilities, your groceries. You're paying 50, 60, 70% of your monthly income in rent, while corporations and foreign investors price you out of your homes and price you out of your communities. You want to know that California is moving in a direction where you're written in that story, and you don't feel that. because it doesn't exist, because politicians have forgotten about you. I want to represent a new generation of leadership that's willing to do things differently, that's willing to think outside the box and be different, because if we keep doing what we've always been doing and what we've continued to do decade after decade, we're going to end up right back here. I believe that I'm the candidate in this race that represents the most amount of change. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and I want you to know that no matter what, I'm going to be a governor that you can count on. Thank you so much.
Eric? There's only one candidate up here that Donald Trump fears will be the next governor of California. It's the son of a cop, former prosecutor, who helped lead both of his impeachments, who has sued him in court, the only surviving lawsuit since he became president. And the person who knows that he only understands one language, and it's the language of strength. And he knows if he's going to come for the most vulnerable in our community, he's got to go through me. If he's going to take our cancer research funding, he's got to go through me. If he's going to make us all pay more for health care, he's got to go through me. It's the reason Donald Trump attacks me almost every single week, he or someone in his administration. That's okay. As my wife likes to say, defamation is the highest form of flattery. It's because he sees me as a threat. So I'll be a fighter and protector for California, as I have always been. But with you, we will write a new, affordable California story where you can take your first job, have your first kid, and buy your first home in the same decade, where we will lift your wages, and I'll be the CEO of bringing down costs. And for your kids, just as my mom did when she worked any job she could take during the day to bring home enough groceries at night, the California promise will be fulfilled. Your hard work will mean you do better for yourself, and you'll dream bigger for them in the future. Thank you.
Tony?
Thank you, David. Thank you, SEIU-USWW. Gracias por la oportunidad para hablar con ustedes. Thank you for the opportunity to be considered to serve as your governor. The stakes could not be any higher than they are right now. And as governor, my vision is to provide you with a tax credit so you have more money in your pocket to pay for the rising costs of groceries, gas, and housing, to build 2 million housing units, and to provide you and others with down payment assistance programs so that people can buy their first home in this state, to make sure that you and your members have the best wages and that we provide you and your children the opportunities for great education and good paying jobs. There are a lot of great people on this stage, fine people, every single one of them, and you have a hard decision to make. But at the end of the day, I implore you to make your decision based on experience. And as you've heard me talk about the things that I've had the chance to do in these 18 years as your elected official, that you'll work with someone who has a vision for our state. You heard me talk about 2 million housing units, the things that we can do to help those who are homeless, and that you will select someone who has a lived experience of Californians who are struggling. Remember your brother, the Afro-Latino from Panama in California, who grew up on the government cheese to be your next governor. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much.
Betty?
Thank you, David. Thank you to all of you. You know, I look out at all of you, and I just have one thing that I just want to be sure that you know. Whoever is elected governor, continue to hold us accountable. You know, it's easy to promise to do things, and it's also easy from year to year to think that, okay, we balance the budget, we go and fix the next budget, and yet nothing's really changed. I've been doing this work for the better part of almost 4 decades, and there was a time in California where we anticipated when Californians were going to be struggling, and we had supports for them. And right now, this is a moment of urgency, and the stakes are high. And so this is about somebody who doesn't need on-the-job training. I know how to balance budgets, but more importantly, this is about how we continue to be sure that we center working families, and everything that we do as a matter of policy in California. Our economy depends on it, and all of you depend on it, your families and communities. And so as I look at my own history, look, everywhere I go, the first thing that I identify is I'm a proud daughter of immigrants. We ought not be shirking away from that. We should be proud of that and stand strongly about who we are. And I'm also a part-time caregiver for my 102-year-old mother. And I just want to end with this story. She still votes because she believes in the promise of the California dream. We didn't have a lot growing up, but my parents were able to sacrifice and put 6 kids through college, and they worked damn hard. And she looks at me today, and I tell her, Ma, what do you think about the future of this country? And she says, we know what we got to do. SEIU, we know what we got to do. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Katie?
There's something in mythology called the Midas touch. Have you ever heard of this? It means that everything you touch turns to gold. With Donald Trump, everything he touches turns to shit. And every person on this stage knows it. That's what we have in common. We will all fight and protect you from Donald Trump, every single one of us. But as much as Donald Trump, everything he touches turns to shit, we have our own homegrown problems here in California. Because we've heard stories today about difficulty making ends meet, about the wages that you're being paid, about the lack of labor enforcement. Those were problems when we had Democrats in office. Those were problems when we had Donald Trump in office. So yes, we need to fight against Donald Trump, but we also need someone who will look hard at who has been running our government in California and for whom. I firmly believe that your campaign says something about who you will be when you lead. The fact that I don't take corporate contributions is a point of pride for me, but it's also my chance to tell you something about who I am and who I will fight for. The contribution limit in this race is $39,200, more than a lot of SEIU members, what they make. So we need a governor who's going to change that. Look, we've had celebrity governors. We've had governors who are kids of other governors, and we've had governors who look hot with slick back hair and barn jackets. You know what we haven't had? A governor in a skirt. And I think it's just about goddamn time. Thank you so much.
Antonio?
If you vote for me, I'll wear a skirt, I promise you. You know, let me just say this. You know, look, I agree with Tony and so many of the people on this stage. Everybody on this stage is good people. All of them have been with you at one time in their life or another. Pero en español te voy a decir, tenemos un dicho, dígame con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Y Antonio Villaraigosa ha estado contigo no 10 años, no 20 años, no 30 años, más de 50 años. Yo fui miembro de SEIU. I have been with you my entire life. You know, I may win this election, I may not. But I guarantee you, if I lose, I'll walk the picket line with you. I'll stand up and fight for you. I will stand up for you because I understand that a great and generous America can't be great and generous if we just have people that are uber wealthy on one side and people that can't afford rent on the other. I know that the California dream, it doesn't work for our kids anymore. And the next governor's got to fight that. You're right. It's not just Republicans. It's not just Donald Trump. We created this. We've been in office. And we've got to listen to you and fight for you and change this. I'd be honored to have your support. Muchas gracias.
Javier?
David, SEIU, all of you, but mostly those of you who get up every day and work and just try to do better for your families. Muchísimas gracias for what you do for building California. It is important. Every one of us has said we're going to fight, and absolutely we will, with you, standing with you. But it's not just fighting. It's winning. And this is where it's so important to have somebody who knows how to win. Not just in one lawsuit, but battle after battle, because Donald Trump is coming at us all the time. And that's why when I was Attorney General, I didn't just sue Donald Trump once or twice or 3 times. I didn't take him to the Supreme Court just once. I took Donald Court to the courts 123 times. And I beat him all the way in the Supreme Court. That's why today you still have Obamacare. That's why today you still have DACA. We know how to fight in California, and we have to win. And that's why it's so important to have a governor who actually has shown that he knows how to win. Because the fight isn't just about Donald Trump. He's just a man-made disaster. The fight is affordability, to make sure you can get into that house. You can have your doctor. You can make sure that you can afford your utility bill. I've already told you, when I'm your governor, Julio Ramirez is going to get a raise. I'm your governor. He's going to have his health insurance. I'm your governor. You all will have an opportunity to buy your home because we're going to make it affordable for everybody. That's the fight. But we got to win. I look forward to winning with you. Thank you.
Tom? So everybody in this room is a Democrat. Everybody on this stage is a Democrat. And we're in a state where we have the most inequality in the country and the highest level of poverty. So we're going to have to do some things differently. People talk about affordability. That's a fancy word. People can't pay the rent. People can't pay for health care. People can't pay for food. People can't pay their insurance. And we're going to have to do things differently because the Democrats are the party that I'm a member of that have put us here. When I talk about rent, the number one cost problem for Californians, we actually need a plan. It's not enough to care. We need a plan, and I have one about controlling rent and building houses and how we're going to do that. I've gone after the electric monopolies. We pay twice as much for electricity in this state as the country average in the country, and I have an answer for how to do this. I've said we'll be a top 10 education state because that's part of the American dream. In every one of these, I have a plan. And so when we look about where we're going, it's not about caring because everyone on this stage cares. It's not about values. It's about results. And you can look and see that I have beaten these special interests every single time with the SEIU, and I will bring 15 to 20 billion new dollars to the state and the working people with the SEIU. We need to actually win. We've done it. We've been winning. We need to keep fighting together. We need to keep winning together.
Thank you. Can we give a big round of applause to all the candidates, please? One, I want to thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for following the rules. Appreciate you all. And I just want to say, you know, this is as much for us to be able to get informed as much as it is about for you to get informed by us. And, you know, we said, and you've heard that comment, con estas manos. These are the hands that make this economy function. And we are very thankful for you spending the time today to come to this organization and with this community to listen and to share. And so please, let's give everybody a big round of applause again to all the candidates, because from this stage, there will be a future governor. And before you all leave, union clap. Now, before you all leave, we're going to try to take a group photo, all right? Everybody stand up. Todos ponerse de pie. And stay where you're at, but turn around towards the back. And we're going to see how we do this, to see if we can make it happen. No. So just one last thing, USWW members, you will all receive a survey. We were going to ask everybody to fill it out so we can get your feedback from this. And just so I'll let you know, we're also live streaming this as well. So there's thousands of folks watching this on live stream, and a lot of folks right now are receiving surveys, electronic surveys, to also continue to do the surveying of the work of the candidates today. So again, one last big round of applause and a big thank you. And please come say hi, take pictures, and thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Oh, the translation devices, if you can please turn them in right down the way. Sorry, I messed up those first couple of times.